Welcome to Tya Talk.
Good morning.
We have a full house today. Two guests.
I got double favors today. Woohoo!
Good to see both of you. Stacy from the you're still in Oregon, right? Heading toward California.
Ashland today, back to California tomorrow.
And David, you're muted.
I'm muted.
You manifest some sound there.
Right. Yeah, I'm
How
in
are you,
Cincinnati. So
yeah,
doing well.
I remember my Tya mug today.
Stacy, you don't have one.
Like, Stacy, didn't you break yours on the road?
Yeah, it flew out of the RV cabinet and shattered everywhere. So I'm like,
oh wow! I guess we need to get you another one before we shut the store down.
Santa, get me one.
Yeah, I'm very torn about. I don't really care about having merchandise or not, but people do seem to like it. That's why I created it.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking I'm just going to shut the store down so we don't have to even think about it. But maybe we'll keep it going. I put a lot of time in designing that stuff. I hate to just not have it, I guess. So I did a new training yesterday. We're going to edit it and put it up. It'll be easier to watch if it's edited, and everything is just kind of focused on the new spiral. The new spiral is the old spiral. It's numeric, but there's more clarity around the different levels. So we'll be posting that here on Patreon in the next day or two. And then Saturday's masterclass, we're going to go much deeper into all of the latest and greatest Tya tools. But today I just kind of wanted to check in with everybody and see, because we've got Stacy, the second graduate of Tya Bootcamp on, and we have David, the last, where we have a new enrollee in Tya Bootcamp and we're starting to enroll again. But David was in this kind of interim period where we were kind of on hiatus, but he was ready to come in and he had been talking about it for a while. Yeah. So he went through it, had a great experience. But how's it going now out of boot camp?
Good. Yeah, it sort of blurs a little bit, to be honest with you. I definitely do all my my regular meditations like every day almost. And when I miss it, I feel it, in a big way. Yeah, I would say it's good. I had a bit of a spin out just 2 days ago, but I'm kind of getting through that, and I think I got a lot of clarity out of it too. Although there's a lot of musings and still things I'm putting together from all that. But yeah, I'd say generally it's good. I think it's kind of like this always evolving process of stuff you thought you detuned, and then you did, but then you kind of find another layer to it that maybe a learning that occurred from that, or sort of something that spun off from that initial thing that you then have to kind of unwind a bit. And I can also see like a lot of my thinking and thought processes like kind of tend to gravity or pull back to where they were before. And so there's a constant redirecting, kind of catching myself and saying, oh, right, that's kind of like an old way of thinking that is not really serving me. And I've let that go. And I thought I did, but it's still there. So I kind of keep,
Yeah, we call that vibrational dust.
Okay. Right.
Think about it. It's like you've cleared things out. You still have some vibrational dust left, and that vibrational dust sticks around until you ultimately detune it.
Right.
And what I found is you do ultimately, if you keep doing that detuning work, you do ultimately detune everything completely.
Right. Okay.
But it's a lifetime's work.
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, just like your house, you're going to dust every couple days, hopefully. I don't dust every day, but dust comes up, right? We're always, like you're saying, David, that's great. Yeah, I love how you're putting that it's an evolving process, because it is, even 5 years out of the practice or out of the boot camp, it is an evolving practice. Every single day I'm up against a new thing. And it's so interesting to even watch my thought process unfold. Yeah. Now it's not even a question of, do I go down my spiral over this or not? It's just, no.
Right.
It starts to become more of a muscle memory as you progress along your years of maintaining your practice. Right.
I thought
I
that
was
was
waiting for him to
fair
like
for a
strip down
second.
and start taking a shower back there, not knowing that you're on
No,
camera.
no, he's emptying all the time right now. He's got the icky job. I
Okay.
so
Yeah.
appreciate that he does that for me.
You go take care of that. I'm gonna go play on mine for a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this has been it's interesting for those of us that have been at it for a while. This has been this cool year of super clarity. When you see the video that we did talking about the positive 20, the top of your spiral vibration, I believe that Stacy and Carrie and I moved into that space this year where you're so source aligned that you just don't. I don't want to say you don't care about anything. You're just so detuned of your ego that you're not worried about external judgment, or you're not fearing anything. And it's an interesting place to be. But then you get up there. For me, I got up there and it was sort of like, okay, I want to dive back into the matrix now with these new tools and be human again.
Right.
I love how you say dive back in, because I'm approaching back to my home state of California. We're going back to LA in a couple of like 11 days now. And I'm noticing I feel myself almost putting on like hip boots and, getting my tools together, because I'm going to wade down back into the matrix and really dive in again, instead of being out here in the wilderness and just soaking up God's creation, universe creation. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, but it's time to move from observing creation into creating something again in my life. And I agree 100% with you, David. We went high and we floated up there and zoomed out, amazing perspective. And then it's like, oh yeah, this is really lovely. As the stream had stated many, many years ago, hanging out on your cloud in utopia is really fun, caring for your wings or whatever you got. But coming back down to reality, to earth, into the muck is quite fun.
Yeah. Well, I want to take that energy and I want to share Tya with the world. And we've got the book that's going to come out that Katerina is editing after I took 4 years to finish writing it. Well, I finished it, but I rewrote it, and so it's kind of like it wasn't. I thought it was finished, but the stream was sort of like, no, it's not really finished, and that's that's why it took as long as it did. But now we know, we really get it. Now we really have come full circle, and we understand what this practice is. We understand that everyone you run on a belief system. Even if your belief system is positive 20, you want for nothing, you need nothing, you are blissed out at positive 20, that's your belief system. And so now with this, okay, I know how to be up there, and I know my default vibration is so much higher than it was. Even when I started this has been my own vibrational journey, and starting this practice and sharing it with the world. And everyone that's come through what we used to call boot camp has really co-created this with me. And here we are. We've got it now. We understand you need an operating system. Not only do you need it, you have to have an operating system for your life, which is your belief system. And what's it going to be? Is it going to be politics? Is it going to be consumerism? Is it going to be religion? Is it going to be your own ego? It's going to be something. So why not have it be source? Why not have it be universal law? Why not have it be just understanding that well-being, what we call abundance, meaning just well-being. It doesn't necessarily mean that that you're a billionaire or anything like that. Abundance is well-being, because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants well-being, and there's certainly people that think that having enough cars and houses and clothes and handbags and all of this stuff. I saw some video of Kylie Jenner, and she had like this whole wall of I'm sure very expensive handbags behind her. And I'm like, how many is enough? And is that your God? Or, is a Birkin bag your God, that you've got to have another one and another one and another one and another one to feel what? Well, after you have 15 or 20 or 100 of them, is there even a thrill in getting yet another one? Maybe there is. I don't know.
That's interesting. I love it. Well, it's funny because my husband, he gifted me a large sum of money for our anniversary, because he's like, I don't know what you want, what kind of gift. And so I've had this money, and I'm rolling around in my mind. Well, I could do this, or I could do that.
I thought you were going to say you were rolling around in the money.
Yeah, I cashed it, and it's $100 bills
I
everywhere.
cashed it all out. I put it all in the what do you call that? A trailer or motor home?
That reminds
Roll
me of
around. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just got this vision when you said rolling around.
That's actually kind of like that's like an Anne Margaret video type thing. Remember she did that scene in The Who? Anyways, we digress. As usual. But I've had this money for like 2 weeks now. And I actually came across it's like coming full circle, entertaining all these different things that I could purchase, places I could go. I could take a friend here to a spa day and do this and that and the other thing. And this morning I realized I should just give it back to him. I really don't need it. So it's really interesting to see how our initial reaction is to fall back into that old belief system, to consume, because I've adored Brahmin handbags my entire life, and so I've had many collections and reduced the collections and given them away, and now I have none. And I thought, oh, I could get myself a new handbag, but it's like, well, why? I have one. And I think part of that is, living in such a space. And I apologize for the mess because we are about ready to move the trailer to another location. So, but yeah, for me right now, less is more. And even the idea of the responsibility of spending that money, I'm like, I should just give it back to him. I don't really need it.
Well, I'll tell you that there's something that I have manifested in my life that I have to now come to terms with demanifesting.
Oh,
We in this house that we moved into, somehow out front, we have the most beautiful green lawn. I've lived in lots of houses in my life, and I've never had such a perfect, beautiful green lawn in my life. And we weren't even focused on it because we haven't even done the landscaping. It got too hot to do landscaping out here in the desert. Now it's cooling off. Now it's time to get the landscapers out and redo all the landscaping. We're going to redo the pool. We're going to add a fourth fire pit. I mean, it's just going to be incredible. I'm so excited about all of it. And the landscaper said, you've got to get rid of the lawn because of the watering restrictions. And now the local municipality is going to start fining hundreds of dollars a month if you're still watering a lawn. And they'll pay you to take it out.
Oh,
so
wow.
We'll get a credit for every square foot of lawn you remove and replace with desertscape. You get a credit. And it sort of pays for itself, but I'm like, no, my beautiful green front lawn is, oh my gosh, it's so pretty, and it's just so perfect. I don't think there's a weed in it. I need to take pictures of it because we turned the sprinklers off yesterday. So it's not going to take green very long.
You should definitely take the dogs and you and I'll go out and enjoy the green lawn, take some videos so you can memorize it. You might even want to take a little square and save it in a pot in the backyard. Maybe one day you can have a green lawn somewhere else.
If I can have lawn again one day, it's okay. The first house I lived in Palm Springs didn't have grass at all. It was all that crushed stone stuff. But yeah, I'm losing my lawn, so I'll have to take some pictures of it to remember. So I am talk about having everything that you want all the time. Well, that's just not the way the world works. So now I've got to come to terms. At the same time, the lawn was not responsible for my happiness, so I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be okay. If my biggest problem is that I'm losing a perfectly green lawn, then life is pretty good. I think. So I was a little bummed about that yesterday. I was really bummed to hear that. Oh gosh, we finally achieved without trying. Remember that too. We talk about that all the time, right? When I tried to have a good lawn and I bring people in and we would spray it with this stuff and do this and aerate it and take all this care, they still wouldn't be perfect. And this was like it almost looks fake. It's so perfect. So, but we weren't trying. It just happened. And so now we have to say goodbye to the lawn. But like I said, I digress because that's my biggest problem right now. Life is pretty damn good. So what we got into in that training, and I do want to encourage everybody to watch it when we post it, is that it's the raising of your default vibration. When you start really paying attention to where your vibe is all day, every day, and of course, boot camp really teaches you how to do that. Or what we call the experience now. You start doing this work, and it's in your work is in your now moment, always. But the now moment's work starts to shift your general vibration, and life starts to generally get better. And that's the magic of the practice. And I love that David talked about a spin out, because spin outs are part of it.
Right.
We're going to spin out on some topic, and that spin out always has value. And I know someone really understands the practice when they talk about the value they've discovered in the spin out. And that's exactly what David offered, in his
Right.
and what you shared when we first started.
Yeah.
So, Stacy, you're ending your journey. You're getting ready to reintegrate back into the matrix of Los Angeles.
Yes. Yes.
It's going to be different. You know that, right? It's going to,
It
the energy of your home is going to be different. Everything is just going to be different. It's like a whole new experience you're going into.
Yeah, and one of our main reasons for doing this hike as well. I mean, my husband wanted to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, so that's his goal. Mine was to kind of research all the little cities and towns and whatnot along the way to see, hey, is there another place that we'd like to relocate to? And we have a running list of places that we really enjoyed, but we can't narrow down anything. And I told him, I said, we won't really know what we prefer until we go back to what we had. So once we're back in our house in LA and we've gotten a chance to experience life there again, I believe more clarity will come. Just like David R is saying, going down your spiral, having your spin out, experiencing that contrast will really bring clarity that I'm looking for as well. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I like that you're not looking to go back. A lot of times people want to sort of turn back to, it's that song, the Cher song, Turn Back Time. You want to turn back to some time that you believed you were happier in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked through my lifetime, and I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, I was 22 years old, all alone, didn't know anyone in Atlanta. I'd gotten a job out there. I hooked my Honda Civic up to a U-Haul and moved myself overnight. I drove overnight out to Atlanta from Louisiana. And I just remember it was such an exciting time to be on my own. And I was in a city for the first time, having grown up in a small town. But I know that I can't go back and ever recreate that, nor do I even care to, because that was the experience that I had, and it always exists, but I don't need to try to replicate it. There have been other experiences, and there have been highs and lows and all these other experiences. I talked to my brother this past weekend, and we don't talk. We text a little bit. We really don't talk at all. And it was nice. We talked for an hour. It went by just like that. And he and his wife, he's just retired, and he and his wife moved back to their college town where they met.
Oh, wow.
Not from there. And it's interesting because their daughter just enrolled in school there. So she's going to her parents' alma mater, and they moved there and bought a house there. And I thought that was a lot. I was kind of like, you're following your kid to college. What's that about? But after talking to him, I realized I think it has more to do with the fact they want to go back and recapture that time. And maybe they will. I don't know. But it kind of seems like that was sort of the goal of that, was to let's go back to when we first met and try to recapture that vibe of, because there's no other reason for them to live in this little town. It's, there's nothing there. So I thought that was really interesting. And I guess they plan to just retire there and be there. That's their forever place. That forever home thing I always laugh at. Forever home.
I have thoughts about this, actually, because there was two sort of topics I thought of to talk about today. One was, maybe I'll bring up later, but it was more about how you operate in the matrix, because my spin out on Monday kind of revealed actually a matrix for me. Because I'm not really concerned about what most people call the matrix, like politics and stuff, but there are some matrices in my life that I kind of, I guess, inherited in some degree. But the other thing is what you're mentioning about going back to like old college towns and stuff. I was thinking about how everything we manifest is kind of like we're manifested it at that stage of our development where we were at that point in time. So, for example, if I manifest a job somewhere, that was okay. Think of it this way. Okay, let's say I'm like 25 and I get a new job in like Manhattan. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a condo in Midtown, and I manifest that. Fast forward 8 years or so, I might have like a kid and I don't have space, and I'm like, well, this doesn't suit me anymore. So I would rather have like a townhouse in Brooklyn or something like that. So it's not like that condo was anything wrong with it. I just kind of, it suited me at a different time and a place.
Yeah, you outgrew it.
Yeah, I had an experience recently with 2 orchestras. One offered me trial period, and they don't know me at all, and I have no connection there. I just applied, and they auto passed me past the audition phase, which is great, and it's overseas too. It's a huge thing. But in the same time, so that's great, you know. At the same time, there's another orchestra I have been working with a lot here, and they know me very well, but I don't have a full-time position there. And I actually could see, I sensed like the timing was right. I could ask for this. And I knew they had budget for it. And I knew the gatekeeper in the administration who would have stopped the whole thing has left. And I know that the person who does decide likes me. So I'm like, okay, now's a good time. So I raised the vibe, set the intention, and I made the ask. And then it was radio silence for a while. They actually never responded to me. I found out through back doors that basically it was a no, and they just never told me. And in fact, they're not appointing any positions this year, even though they have budget for it. So it's kind of, when I stopped and I looked at all that, it was very curious that one orchestra that has no connection to me just greenlighted everything. And from the physical perspective, probably would have been the one to say no, but the one who knows me and had all the doors open, it was blocked there. And I was kind of pondering, like, why is that? And I wonder, is it that orchestra was something I'm kind of, the one that said no might have been manifested at a different stage of where I was, and that vibration wasn't necessarily going to follow, if that makes sense. Do you see? So just because you manifest something doesn't mean that vibration is going to follow you. It's kind of, it's almost like,
well, I think a lot of times people take things as a sign from the universe. You hear that a lot. Oh, it's a sign from the universe. The universe is, well, I don't think the universe is giving us signs other than a reflection of our own vibration.
Yeah.
So
I
go ahead,
earlier,
Cece.
you were talking about, I think in the last Sunday Soul Food, levels of allowing. So this example, where is your level of allowing? Like, you've got this opportunity across seas with people you don't even know. It's brand new. You've opened up your vibration to experience something like that. Yet there's this other, more familiar. You're used to it. They're used to you. But still, it's not quite in alignment. So it's interesting to notice, where's the level of allowing that you're having to both these scenarios. So truly, it's your manifestation. It's your vibration that's moving forward. It's not, like David said, the universe is showing you a way. No, it's your vibration is perpetuating the circumstances now. So for you, if I were in your shoes, I'd be curious to sit back and really look at it. It's like, oh, that's very interesting. Where is my vibration? Like, really, where is your vibration? What is my true desire? And do either of these things really align?
Right.
That's just mine.
Yeah.
Mine works.
Thank you.
Sure.
I love kind of defaulting into that best possible outcome also. That I'm here for this journey. It's a vibrational journey, so it's not going to be static, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to just be every single thing that I want every day. We're not here for that. That's a huge teaching of the stream. You're not here to just have perfection all the time. And anyone that's trying to sell you on that is really selling you a ticket to your demise, because that's what that would create, is that positive 20. Ultimately, I think you bore out of it. You just get so bored that you either go back and create some contrast for yourself, or maybe you do create a demise. If you notice, a lot of spiritual teachers don't live to be terribly old. They manifest some sort of cancer or something that kind of creates an exit for them. And I don't necessarily think that's wrong. I think that they just get to that leading edge and they're just kind of done with life, and they manifest an exit. That does happen. But I have personally, I have come to recognize spirituality as just another matrix. And that's why I don't even consider this spirituality anymore. And I know that somebody on the outside would say, well, you channel, something. What is that? That's spirituality. Okay, fine. But I've always joked that I'm the least spiritual teacher you'll ever meet, because I'm not into all of that stuff. But all of that stuff is just the matrix. The belief in source and the belief in being one with source, it's a belief. It's just faith that is true, and we make that our reality, and we make that true for us. And it seems to work really, really well when we do. I'm all about stripping away the matrix as much as possible. And when I strip away the matrix completely, that's where I arrive at that space where we're physically manifested beings operating in an ego. And then we have this source aspect of us that is eternal.
Mhm.
And source is the source of all creation. And we create via our thoughts, our mind. And our thoughts are not static because we're in this polarized space. That's why our thoughts are all over the place all the time. But I've come to see that this mix of things that we manifest leads us to create, to grow. That's expansion. So when I strip everything away, that's what's left. Those teachings are exactly what's left, and that's what Tya is. So when you're manifesting something and you're focused on wanting something and believing that it's coming to you, and then suddenly it just dissolves.
Yeah.
I sort of just default into that. Well-being is assured for me. That wasn't my best possible outcome. What's next?
It's funny because when that orchestra said no, I kind of felt a little bit relieved, actually. I think in the past I would have been upset because I kind of knew, like, okay, well, now I don't have to sign a contract. I can go wherever,
Yeah.
because but it was really curious that just the way that the cookie crumbled. I guess that was part of my detuning of it. And there's another times when I've had this situation, like it's one of the meditations. I think you said the stream is saying that everything is your creation, and even the stuff that you don't like is evidence of your ability to manifest. And I realized, like, why? So if I have a manager and a colleague or a boss who's not is causing me frustration or something, what part of my detuning of that was to see that, like, that person was kind of bundled in with something I manifested 3 years ago in a different state.
Yeah.
I might be moving past it. But that doesn't mean that old manifestation is going to come with me, But
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's true though, because it'll shift on a dime.
yeah.
And we may not even be aware of the fact that our vibration has shifted. I'll use the example of my husband's hike, Pacific Crest Trail, 2,650 miles. He literally hiked 2,000, approximately 300 to 400 miles. The last 250 miles was shut down due to wildfire right as we got there. So we had been having conversation before that where he was saying he was tired. He felt like Forrest Gump in that movie where he's running and running, and all of a sudden he just stops and goes, "I'm tired. I think I'll go home now." And so just that little bit of off vibration to what his true intent was when he started the hike ended it. And I was like, "Oh God, he's going to be so upset," because I heard of the news before he did. When he heard it, he was like, okay. He was so zen about it. He was totally accepting. There was
He
no
spent months in low thought activity hiking and got clarity that, hey, I'm having the experience. The goals are an ego product, right? So the ego, you got to finish. You got to get up there and say that you did the whole thing. If you didn't, something's wrong. Well, that's ego. Well, he became more one with source, where source is like, hey, look what you manifested. A year away from the grind to get out here and do nothing but what you love to do. And who cares what it looks like? It's not going to look, because you're in vibrational flow, it's not going to look the way that you envisioned it. And if you get really stuck on it having to be the way that you envision it, you're going to hold yourself away from joy. Think about people that get married, and plan these massive weddings, and they're supposed to be so perfect. And I've been to so many where they weren't perfect, and you see it handled two ways. You see the bride, who cares, we're having a good time, or you see the one that's miserable because the one thing out of 100 other things went wrong.
The bride
you get to choose that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's really interesting to watch other people's reaction too. There's many hikers that had to literally be evacuated from the area in tears and angry, and posts on Instagram and Facebook that I've been following along these different hikers, and it was like, wow, our journeys are so unique, and how we choose to approach them. It's so in our own individual power. I want people to get that more, that they have power to create their experiences. And that's exactly what we teach with Taya. And to watch everybody have their experience and feel their contrast and their upset, and then to actually blossom out of that. We have several different people that we had met along the hike, and they all want to talk to Andrew. They're like, I want to not so much detune, but decompress from the hike. How is it for you now that you're back in reality? Because all of them are longing for the trail. Yet he's already running, full steam ahead with a project that he had dreamt up on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
well, it's really good that it's great that he had purpose after the hike, and the hike just gave him more clarity on the purpose. I think that's brilliant that he did it that way.
Yeah, it's been such a really cool adventure. So,
well, he intentionally created a kind of a spin out. My year this year has been this spin out. I wasn't expecting to, have to focus more on everything going on here in this home and all of this stuff. This all happened at the beginning of the year. I started the year thinking, gosh, this is going to be the best year ever. We're going to tour the world, and we're going to have all these big, events, and we're going to have all these coaches coaching boot camp, and it's just going to be so incredible. And all of that just blew right the hell up. And when it did, it created this wilderness situation. It was, my version of a hike.
Yeah.
Created my own version of a hike, a little drought in all ways, and a real shift in focus into something that I wasn't expecting or planning. But here we are. And now I've seen the benefit of it, because I was really heading down a path of creating something that wasn't what my soul wanted. It was what my ego wanted.
Oh, love ego.
Yes.
So here's my other question is like, how do you actually, we talk about detuning the matrix and stuff, but when we also, like, as Stacey, you said, you're going to go back into like, how do you actually operate in the matrix without getting sucked into it? If that makes sense.
My approach.
I would say the key to that is appreciation without judgment. That's the key to everything.
Okay.
Yeah. And gathering all my tools. Like, I've got all my basic tools. I've been working them and reworking them, working the pillars, working the meditation, making sure I'm setting intention. It's like I've been really practicing doing that in this last, few weeks that we have on the trail, so that I can get really habitual about using my tools. Knowing that, okay, I'm going to come into a bunch of contrast. There's already this waves, ripples are coming towards me, and it's like, I see you coming.
Yeah, it's like the Matrix has these tentacles that wants to kind of wrap around you and draw you back in, and it's a fun thing now. I love jumping. I don't care about Facebook, but I do jump on TikTok. I talk about that a lot, and all of a sudden I'll be in political TikTok land for some reason, and the not diving into the judgment of, oh, those people are stupid, or, oh, how can you give this much power to politics, or, oh, you're so unrealistic. It's just observing and appreciation and teaching yourself that that's your experience. You're observing people that are in the matrix in appreciation of their experience without judging them as less than or stupid, or, oh, look at you in the matrix and I'm out of the matrix, I'm so enlightened. It's not that, because that, if you're thinking that, that's your ego, and you're right back in the matrix with everybody else. It's they're having their experience, I'm having mine. Well-being is assured. None of this is forever. This is a temporary experience we're all in, and we all get to choose to have our experience the way that we choose to have it. And if we choose to have the experience battling about politics, that's amazing. I saw something this past week that was a shock to me, and I shared it with Stacey and a couple of other people. I have an aunt that was my very religious, very Christian, you're going to burn in hell for just about everything. She had that list all the time of all the things I was going to burn in hell for. And I mentioned her in my book. I didn't mention her by name. I think I changed all the names of the book. In fact, I know I did. But I just found out when I talked to my brother that her husband of 50, almost 60 years passed away, and she went and got remarried to yet another high school sweetheart. Apparently she had two boyfriends in high school. She married one right after high school. They stayed married, for a lifetime. He passes on, and then she goes and finds the other one and says, okay, it's your turn now, I guess. I don't know. But I see these pictures of her, and she's smiling. She looks great. She's got a champagne glass in her hand, which I can't believe, because definitely of the religious belief, if you take a sip of alcohol, you're, burning in hell forever. So she's loosened up. My aunt has definitely loosened up. And I just think, gosh, what an amazing life journey that you go through that. And then you allow yourself to keep on. And, she's 82, a newlywed moving out of her hometown at 82.
That's awesome.
I applaud that. That's just so cool that we move through these life experiences. And I think the old version of her, I just thought she would be this dutiful widow, forever after her husband died, however many years she had left. And no,
Surprise!
turn that right upside down. And I'm going to go through a different experience in life. And, I think those of us that are kind of chameleons, we're really allowing that vibrational journey, because I think keeping yourself static is not natural. I think keeping yourself static is the matrix, telling you that you've got, this is who you are and you've got to be this forever. I think that's the matrix.
But that even goes back to your example of your brother moving back to his college town, right? That town's not the same as when he was there when he was in college.
Yeah.
It's evolved, it's grown, it's changed.
Years, yeah.
We all, and that's even just like me going back to LA after 6 months. It's going to change. We're going through Santa Barbara, my hometown, to visit friends and family. That's drastically changed. So, and even a place that we had thought we loved, that we revisited this year. We had seen it last year, called Sierra City, had revisited this year. And both Andrew and I were like, no, this is not it. Like, it's changed. So it wasn't always static. And to go back to even what David R. was saying, where you're noticing all the changes, and your vibe changes. And the curiosity piece, I guess I keep wanting to bring up for you too, is like, if it's just a small inkling of a change, then for judging the matrix, for not being an appreciation, I always turn the mirror back on me. It's like, okay, so if that vibration is present in my now existence, in my now reality, in what I'm doing physically, then how am I still creating that? Where is that still in me? Because it wouldn't be showing up, right? So that's always one of my fun games to play, especially when I meet somebody, and I've met a variety of people on the trail, where I feel that little bit of, I can see that judgment wants to creep in. Oh, so where am I still judging myself about that person drinking too much, a little overweight? Yeah, you name it.
Right.
What colors they wear are loud,
It's like Source is not judging any of it. All of that judgment of how we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to be, all of that is the matrix. It's all ego. Mm-hmm. And if you really surrender to all of that and just let it all go, life just changes dramatically. Yeah. It's so different. But I do think there's value in the journey to get there. Not expecting to, Tya is a practice that you do for your life. And I think it just I haven't seen it stop delivering.
Nope. Right.
No, in the stream it said this, there's no ceiling that you're going to hit of clarity. The clarity just keeps unfolding and unfolding, and the appreciation just keeps amping up as long as that's your focus. Yeah. But if you're too busy judging yourself and what you're not getting or not manifesting or any of that stuff, it really feels like we've blown so beyond material manifestation in this practice. And I know that doesn't make it as sexy on the front end. Well, wait, I want stuff. We have friends and people that have come through that are in that manifesting abundance thing, and abundance meaning how to get more wealth and get more wealth, and you got to get more wealth. Well, that's your God then. Mm-hmm. That's your God. You're worshiping at the altar of commerce, and it's okay that you're having that experience, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't deliver a rich enough experience to give you daily joy, because you're so worried about the grind and manifesting. That's where I was heading in the business last year. Stacy was right in the muck with me, watching me do this. I was kind of recreating a corporate structure like the one that I walked away from. And I kind of liked it at first, but then I realized that, gosh, here we are creating this big corporate machine, and that's not what Tya is, and that's not what I want it to be. And if I just let go, I realize that my life is abundant, whether I have this corporate machine or not, or whether my ego is, got the following that it wants or any of that crap. And now
Yeah.
I don't care about any of it.
Well,
I
interesting.
realize on social media, I'm like, I forget to post on social media because it just like, oh, there's something I want to share, and then I do it, but I'm not on a schedule of, all of that. Well, you got to post every day, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And you want to grow your following. I'm like, if it grows, it grows. I want to share it with the world, but with the world that wants it, that's ready for it.
Mhm.
I had this thought the other day that, for detuning judgment, I feel like good judgment and bad judgment are both judgments. Like this is why, like, if when I'm teaching a student, I'll never say, "Oh, you did great." I usually don't use that language because that's sort of implying that if it didn't go that well, it would have been bad, And so I kind of try to, And so if I let's say you manifest something that you want, and you're like, "Oh yeah, good job," well, that's kind of judgment, isn't it? If I'm judging myself on the good side, then that's sort of opening the door that if I hadn't manifested that, it would have been negative. Maybe it's better to just sort of like step back and just say, well,
it's the experience you had. You
Yeah.
had an experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I took Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, to appreciate wherever that experience takes you.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that was really cool. That was really easy. Oh, I enjoyed the ease of that. Or, oh, wow, I really put myself through hell to get to that point.
Right.
But wow, wasn't it interesting how much I was able to endure, how much I created and still persisted because I really wanted that.
Yeah.
Or I didn't allow it the way I thought I allowed it. And where's the clarity in that? I mean, there's so many ways to approach that.
Right.
I've got to go because we have to move our trailer.
Actually, we're wrapping up, so your timing is perfect. We don't have to be an hour here. I think we've shared a lot of good stuff. Cheryl said that she slacked in her habits, and it shows up, and it does. You get instantaneous feedback from the universe. Is not sending you signs. The universe is reflecting what your vibration is all the time. And I love it when things seem like they magically show up, but we have to realize that we're the ones that are creating the magic. We're allowing the magic by not needing it, not wanting it, not caring about it, knowing that abundance is assured, and that these needs for specific things and goals, and to, as David says, do a good job, that's all ego stuff. Right. And again, ego is like the Matrix. It's not bad. It's not evil. Recognize it for what it is, and understand that you can recognize it and observe it and not be of it, and be of source. And the of source version of life is so much better. So much better. It's how we're really meant to, we created the Matrix, humanity created it. And, it served a purpose, but we're getting so advanced now that, hey, we don't need that anymore. We don't need the Matrix of fear and judgment. Thank you both for joining me. It's always fun to see both of you. And thank you, those of you that watch live. Thanks, everybody that's watching this in the future. Thank you for your support on Patreon. We definitely appreciate it. Yes. And we will see you soon. And we'll see you Saturday. I hope everybody is signed up for the masterclass that we're doing this Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific. You can see all of the sign up will be on the public feed of Patreon. Thanks, everybody.